So today we'll be looking at 3 shots, and I will be editing each shot twice to show the difference between a simple shot and a more advanced shot. Starting off with this one, number 536. So in this shot, I am walking forwards. You can see my back. I'll mark that as the trim start. I'll add a keyframe and I'll make a natural view, 90 degrees. I'll pan down just a little bit just so that I can see more of my body, and then you can see all of the little swannies in the background. It is crooked, so I am going to shift the rotation just a little bit. That looks great. And then let's see what the shot looks like. So walking, and then I move the camera up above my head and over the fence just to show all the swans. And then there's a bunch of birds flying through. So that is version number 1 of this shot. I'll add a keyframe at the end and I'll flatten it out just so it looks good. And yeah, let's take a look at what we have. With this same clip, you can add a twist and it would look a lot better. Let's add a twist at the transition between my back shot and showing all of the swans. So it'll be when I'm moving the selfie stick up and over my head around here. So what I'll do is I'm gonna add another keyframe here to show my back. And I'm gonna add a 360 degree transition up to here when it's past my head so I can't see my head. I'm gonna pan up and I'm going to add a 360 degree transition. And since this last keyframe that we have here is at 4 degrees and this is at 360 degrees, it's going to be rotating all the way back like shown. So what I'm going to do is click on this last keyframe and add a 360 degree rotation. And then I'm gonna add a transition, fade in, fade out in between all the keyframes. And let's take a look at our shot. So the twist was a little too jarring for me. I think I would move the keyframe further away just so that the twist isn't as fast. And let's see what that looks like. That looks better, and then you get a view of the swans. So this is our final shot that we have there, and I'll add that to my queue. And we can compare both shots now. To do a simple version of this shot, I'm going to mark this as my trim start, add a keyframe, add natural view, point that down, and go towards the end where I want the shot to end, add a keyframe, mark that as a trim end, and let's take a look. So that's our shot without any twist, and you can see how simple that shot was. Now moving on to the version with the twist. So I'm gonna add a keyframe here at the beginning of where I want the shot to start. I'm gonna show the food and the barrel, the wheelbarrow, and I'm gonna show the swans. Add a keyframe. Of course, switch it to natural view, pan down. Let's take a look. seaweed, yum. And you notice how the movement of the camera wasn't smooth. So usually what I do there is I'll cover it up by adding a keyframe right before where I messed up and moved the camera a little too much. I'll add a keyframe there, make it 90 degrees. I'll show the swans, and then I'm going to do a spin transition after the point where I accidentally moved the camera too fast. I'll do a 360-degree transition. That one's nice and slow, and then I'm just gonna add one more final keyframe to finish the shot, and then I'm gonna mark that as a trim end. And of course I'm gonna add the fade in, fade out in between all the shots. So basically my error where I moved the camera slightly to the left too fast, it should be covered up by this 360-degree transition. Now let's take a look at what we got. Yep, that's where I moved it, and now you couldn't even tell. So that's what I do when I have those points when I'm filming and I move the camera just because I can't move it as smoothly or glide the camera exactly how I want, or maybe there's wind that's moving the camera. So what I'll do is I'll add a 360-degree transition just to cover it up. So that's a trick that I use as well. And here's a comparison of both of the shots, the basic one and the more advanced one. Now moving on to the final clip, number 539. I have a shot of all the swans in their quarters, and I'm going to add a keyframe at the beginning here, show these swans. So I move towards the right and I show these other swans in another homie. So I'll end that shot there and show the swans. I added a keyframe, 90 degrees, and marked that as trim end. And let's take a look at what we have, showing the first swans in their homie, second group of swans in their homie. Add that to my queue. And now let's move on to the version with the twist. So I'm gonna add a twist in between basically this partition, in between showing this first group of swans and the second group of swans. So I'll add a keyframe around here, show this first group of swans, and then over here I'll pan over to the second group of swans, add a keyframe, and I'll add a 360-degree transition. And the same with the first shot that we had, I'm going to add a 360-degree transition here. And let's add the fade in, fade out. Start at the beginning and take a look at what we have. So showing the first group, twist, showing the second group. And I forgot to pan over and center the swans for the last keyframe, so I'll do that. Also, the spin was a little too fast, so we can just add more distance between these keyframes. Let's see how that is. Better. And I'll go ahead and add that to my queue, and we can take a look at the difference between the shot with no twist versus the shot with the twist.